The experts that best communicate their culture and their vision to their potential clients are those entrepreneurs that we remember. I'm Shelby Jo Long with the Expertise Podcast, and here we explore the stories of those entrepreneurs to inspire you to think about how you can monetize your expertise. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Strategic Advisor Board Podcast. I'm Shelby Jo Long, and I'm here today to talk to Michelle White. And in this podcast, we discover stories of businesses, discover the opportunities of businesses, talk about some challenges, and try to provide some insight from some seasoned business owners for you business owners out there that are trying to navigate your own entrepreneurship journey. So I'm excited to have Michelle here today for a few reasons. I know Michelle through the publishing industry. I'm in the process of publishing my own book, and Michelle is an integral part of that because she's a book designer. And I've had the opportunity to discover more about book designing and book publishing with Michelle. So I'm really excited to hear about her journey and what she does today. So Michelle, welcome to the interview. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Shelby. Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here.
Oh, so excited to have you here. Michelle, another background. Michelle and I also serve on the solutions for independent publishers in this group called Rogue Publishing. So we're both board members in that publishing circle as well, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But Michelle, why don't we start by you just telling us about your business and kind of how you got into this business and a little bit of your background. Let's discover more about you.
Okay. My business is called MMW Books. I'm a book designer, and I do one-on-one design with the authors, mostly nonfiction. I've also done some children's books, and a lot of it is memoirs and people promoting their businesses through the book, establishing their expertise and trying to share their knowledge. So yeah, I've been doing this for over 20 years. When I started out, there was no print on demand. Self-publishing was nothing like what it is today. Sure. I worked on textbooks for a major school book publisher, and from there, once that business closed after 9/11, there were all different things going on at that time, and that's when I had the opportunity to finally start my own business. And so I've been doing book design then. A lot of times authors don't realize that when they get signed with a major publisher, they lose all control of the publishing process and the design, and it's a big business, and the publisher takes over. So what as a self-publisher, you can be a lot more involved, and you get to choose your design, your colors, your branding. Everything can be exactly how you want it. And that's what I like to do, is to work with authors and show them I usually show them some options, and then we kind of brainstorm on some good imagery that really tells their story and can sell the book.
There's so much that I've learned about just designing and the publishing industry, but I just love, and that's why there's such synergy within the Rogue partnership too, is that we are all definitely concerned about brand and message and custom solutions, and we don't want people to get caught up into a machine where they don't have control over their material. And I think that's such an important piece. And it's interesting, you talked about how you transitioned from this, not corporate necessarily, but was a corporate customer, and post 9/11, and then you get to do your own thing. So it's just something kind of tragic happened, and then something shut down, and then it kind of forced you to get into this own thing. But then maybe that helped you kind of discover one of your core values for your business. So
yeah, well, I mean, I had always wanted to start my own business ever since, when I had dropped out of college and was raising children at a very young age, struggled to make enough money to pay for daycare and pay the bills, and like a lot of young parents. Absolutely. And I read this article in Working Mother magazine. I don't know if they're still publishing, but this was, in the early 80s, about this new thing called desktop publishing. And I was so excited. This is perfect because it can tap into my creative and artistic side, and I can set up my own business at home. And, at that time, everybody didn't have a computer in their home. So that was a big step. And, so I started looking for a job that I could learn how to do it on the job. And so then it just progressed until I was able to. And then when that happened, it just like really opened the door for me to finally start my own, and having my own business has been wonderful for, it allowed me to do so many things, and the freedom to make my choices and to serve the clients the way I like to, and to be with my family the way I want to. It allowed me to homeschool. It allowed me to go back to school, and get my degree and travel. My family lives in another state, so I could go and visit them and help out with my mom. She had a lot of years of illness. And, so it was really nice to have that kind of freedom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What you just said really resonates with me. The conversation I have frequently with my brother, we're in the sandwich generation, right? Like there's, in that time of business development, you have young kids, and then you also have aging parents. And so there's that tug and pull of what can I do? And a corporate environment is not really where I need to be, but this is a job that I can make those connections with and do it on your own. And I think that story definitely resonates with a lot of entrepreneurs. So
yeah.
It just allowed you to be in that space.
Right. And I can just take my work with me and go work from there, and
exactly.
And now that I have grandchildren, it's kind of the same. I can go visit them or take an afternoon off if I need to help out my daughter with her kids. They live locally. My son and his family lives up in Wisconsin, so I can go visit there for a long time and work.
Sure.
It's great. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Such a great entrepreneur story right there. Tell me what got you into the writing and the designing, because it's a lot more than I discovered. And I imagine that it's changed significantly over the past even 10, 15 years as everything has gone digital. So how a book actually looks, people are buying less paperback books today. So can you talk about that transition between the paper and the digital world and how design still plays into that?
Well, design is always going to be a part of it, because that's what sells the book. It's basically your label on the front of your package, whatever you're selling, your book cover is your label, and that needs to catch the eye, so that really hasn't changed as far as the transition. Usually the ebook cover, the audio book cover, the book, they're all the same design in most cases. I mean,
right.
If you wanted them different, you could, but you want that recognizability. So you usually don't want to have different designs. I've had to learn how to do ebooks, and that's a challenge for me, because it's technical. It's a whole different world than the creative. Because
Sure.
there's always a certain amount of technical stuff to learn any software, that I use for design, but that evolves with time, of course. So yeah, it has, and it hasn't changed. The whole ebook angle is new, in the last 10 years, but I think hard copy books are still selling really good. People want that hand, especially now that you're on your device all day long, whether it's your computer, your phone, your tablet, people like to turn that off and go sit down with a book. I know I do.
Yeah, me too.
So I think there's still a market for printed books. I don't think that's going anywhere.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think it is either. I'm definitely of that. I like to separate and hold a book in my hand, even though the Kindle is so easy, but it's nice to have that. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely going to have hard copies when I print my own book. So it's just been, and I told you this the other day when we were in a conversation, it's just been, it's so helpful for me. I'm a very verbal person. And I like writing things, and I like looking at information and assessing all of those things. But I have a really hard time representing that visually. And that is the talent that I don't have, and that that's not necessarily in my skill set. And it was just amazing to be able to talk to you and have you visually represent that. And I think that's a really incredible quality, and one that you've built a business around that. So I
Yeah.
commend you for that. And your ability to design and to create images out of what I say is just amazing. So,
Well, that's that kind of creative work, that comes naturally. I just love when I can find an image that speaks to on different levels.
right.
There's the obvious, the first glance, and then you think about it, and then maybe it represents something else that has to do with the book. And like symbols and imagery can evoke different feelings and memories and emotions and all of that, along with the colors that you choose and the fonts. All that stuff comes together to create an impression. That's what graphic design is all about.
Yeah.
um, and I like working individually with the authors who have the input like you did. And like if we work with Rogue Publishing partners, or in other situations too, where you have a book coach or a project manager, then we can get together with the editor, the designer, so you've got all these different viewpoints to come together to distill down what that book is really about. Because oftentimes authors may not realize that the designer usually doesn't read the book. There's just not enough time to read every book you design, as much as I'd love to, right? That's where it's nice when it comes in when I do the proofreading also, because then I'm really intimate with the book. I know enough, but to be able to have the whole team together with the editor and the author who know the book better than anybody, they can help distill what imagery really works and who the target market is, who you want to speak to. Like you just want to have something that fits your genre. Your book has to fit in with the genre. Like if you're doing say a book about gardening or something, and if you have a picture on there of, say, of a family or something else, people aren't going to recognize it as a gardening book. Then again, if you have a well-tended garden on there, you still have to come up with some way to make that book stand out against all the other gardening books. So that's where the challenge is, to make the book fit in and stand out. That's kind of where I come in to really be able to. I do research on the books that I'm designing, and so I know what else is out there for someone who's looking for a gardening book, so that I can see how it should look and how it can be different.
Yeah. I love that team. Because engaging all of those different facets, the writer and the designer and the publisher and the proof editor to really identify the message of the book and the audience for the book. That's so critical. And I'm excited that we've kind of formalized that into the Rogue Publishing Group, where we are all independent business owners, but we all are in a collective group to be able to best help independent authors. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you fit into that? What it kind of sounds like it matches your approach. So I'm just excited to hear about what you feel about Rogue Publishing and a little bit about that.
Well, I'm really excited to be part of it. It's huge. It really brings to the table everything that an author needs for getting their book out there. If they've never done it before, which is often the case with self-publishers, or even if they have, if you've gone through the process, you know that you've got to find a good editor, you've got to find a good designer, you've got to find all these different parts and organize them all so that when the designer starts, by the time they start, the editing has to be just about finished, and it's all a coordination of all that. And so now people can go to Rogue and they can either choose one service provider, like maybe you've already got an editor and you need a designer, right, or you haven't written the book yet, you need a ghostwriter. You can choose which service you want, or you can just have us put together a team that's best for your book, because we know who's expert from all of the partners that we have. We know who's really good at that type of book, and we can pick and choose and put together a really great team. And then we all work together and coordinate the timing and all the different aspects of the book that have to come together in order to get it out, from writing to PR and marketing and podcasts. We have all of that.
We have all of that.
And a lot of our clients are business owners who are writing their book as a tool to get their expertise out there and to as both an advertisement and to create their brand and get their name out there and all these things. And so those people also need other business services, which is where SAB comes in, which is the Strategic Advisor Board that you are on, along with 9 other people, right?
Right.
So it's all connected with the business, and having all these business connections is huge. You know, it helps us serve our clients better.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I feel very much the same way about it. To pull all these pieces together in a partnership, a collective partnership where we can all benefit from it, but also best serve the clients. And I think the Rogue and the Strategic Advisor Board both are under that. So yeah, thanks to Jason. So that's a big influence in that. Well, let's ask about, I love all this conversation about your business, but can you talk about a challenge that you've had in growing your business and maybe how you've overcome it in your entrepreneurship journey?
Well, you know, that kind of goes with what we were just talking about. For me, and I think a lot of creative professionals, we tend to work alone and we do our thing. And, you know, I like to get in the zone with the work that I'm doing. And, you know, you get into that flow where time flies and all of a sudden hours have gone by. You know, I just love that part. And I'm more of a loner. Being out there with other people, getting to know other people and that sort of thing is really hard for me. But as a business owner, you have to do that. You know, that's the only way you can sell anything. You can't make money alone, right?
Right.
So
you gotta have a network.
So that was the hardest thing. And it took a lot of years to build up a network of publishing professionals that I've worked with, especially editors. I work hand in hand with editors a lot, you know, on all the different books that I work on. So yeah, that was the biggest challenge, and it's led to so many great connections. And so solving that has made the biggest difference in the world for me, you know, for my business. Yeah.
And now being a part of partnership that can be at a place where you can pick and choose and where you can really focus on what you do well, and you can really grow that part of your business.
And I can have other people take care of some of the people person stuff that I'm not great with. You know?
Oh, like you're better at that than you think, Michelle. You just might not like it as much as the design piece.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think that's a challenge that all entrepreneurs can be. It's a vulnerable place to be. And it's, you know, you're not creating relationships, you're creating relationships that feed your business. And it's different and it's scary to do that, but you've done it very successfully. So that's, it's good. And I'm really excited to see where this Rogue partnership goes. I think there's nothing like it out there. And I think it's going to be a really great product. So
yeah, I think it is.
Well, great. Let's wrap up the interview. Is there any final thoughts? How can we find you? If I have connections to you because within Rogue, so I can just, you know, give you a call if I need your book services. But if people want to work with a book designer, how can they get a hold of you? How can they find you?
You can find me at mmwbooks.com. Simple as that. And you can go to roguepublishingpartners.com, and there you can see all the wealth of providers that we have, you know, to help you with whatever you need in your book, or to put together a team, or to just choose one thing that you need. So yeah, those are the easiest ways to find me.
Great. Well, I'll make sure that your website and your content and the Rogue website are in the YouTube link so people can easily contact you.
I'm also on LinkedIn and guru.com, Upwork, you know, freelance websites like that. I'm listed on there, so you can see some reviews from clients that have, you know, I've worked with through those apps, I guess.
Sure. Well, I am very excited to see, I know I'm not your only projects coming out in the next couple of months, but I'm very excited to see my project come out, which will, I think, be out in May. So it's been a while coming. I'm excited to see the final product. So
yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes too. So far, we've got the cover almost done.
I know we're very, very close.
It's going to be a great book. I did read yours. So.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Good. Well,
it's great. It's great. I'm excited for it. Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm excited too. Well, great. Let's wrap up this interview. Michelle, again, thank you for coming on to talk about your business, talk about your struggles. It can provide insight and so much help for other entrepreneurs that are in the same spot, similar challenges, and also ways to get through that. And we hope to inspire our audience to reach out to Rogue Publishing if you have any questions about book publishing. Reach out to Michelle if you have any questions about book design. Reach out to anybody in the Strategic Advisor Board to talk about business development. We're all here to provide value and to help navigate this journey a little bit easier. So I will see you next time on the next podcast for the Strategic Advisor Board and for Culture, Communication, and Vision. And we'll talk to you soon. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Expertise Podcast and hope you're inspired to think about how to further monetize the expertise and the processes that you have in your own business. See you next time.